Hello and welcome to my video demonstration of my system that I've made. I'm not going to really specifically show you exact parts of code because it's nicely commented, and if I refer to any methods in this video, please maybe have my code open on another screen or refer to my code afterwards, because I feel like that would be wasting both my time and yours, just looking at code that you can clearly read. So I'm going to show you how the system works. This is how the system looks to start off with. It's called GiveMeGuidance. You click on the Start Quiz button, which actually just scrolls you down to the second page. You've then got a survey that collects data from the user, and with some of the data fields, it takes the value behind the choice that the user picks, and then runs that to a thesaurus method, which then returns a synonymous word to the value that the method has been given, and then puts them words into a template which can be used for advice in the end output. This is so that the output isn't like a generic sort of horoscope that would tell the user that good things will come to those who wait or something like that. It's actually going to have some kind of relevant meaning based on what the user has inputted, but at the same time it's not going to be directly mapped to the value of the user's choices, and therefore it wouldn't be as impressive. So I'm going to give you a quick demonstration here. My answers that I'm giving aren't necessarily correct for myself, but I'm just picking whatever for this. All of them, I think that one looks best. And there you go. So as you can see, the final product is chosen a very nice background. It is spelt correctly, that the format is kind of there, but what isn't there is that the system can't interpret when things make sense or not. It can tell if something is spelt correctly, but it doesn't have that level of intelligence to be able to read and rate its own output, which I would have loved for it to have, but I don't think my programming skills are ample enough to implement that level of artificial intelligence, unfortunately, or definitely not in the timescale that I had to complete this assessment. But what I did incorporate to account for this was a co-creative feature. So at the end, the user can tweak the output so that it makes more sense, and then this is how it kind of aided in passing my own testing method that I came up with, which is called like the Wilson test, and you'll read about that in my report. So for example, you might being ready. What about being ready less, engaging, utilizing your time more? There you go. So this has now created what is debatably a piece of art. Is it a piece of advice? Is it a horoscope with a nice background? You decide. It's whatever it means to you, just as long as it invokes some sort of emotive response and I'm happy, which I kind of like to consider the output to be art, because that kind of encapsulates all the definitions that I've had people tell me, oh, I think it's this, I think it's that, but if you say it's art, that kind of encapsulates all of the definitions that I've just listed. So that's how it works. The basic operation is that the user answers some questions. The questions have a one-word value relating to them. The thesaurus goes away and gets a synonymous word to the values provided by the user, puts them into a template, and then outputs them in sort of this arty, quotey, horoscopy, nice backgroundy kind of piece of art, which is quite visually nice to look at. Improvements could be like the typography. I would have liked to have somehow incorporated like a selection of font based on maybe an answer that's given. So maybe if the system had like the level of artificial intelligence to learn a bit more about someone's personality rather than just randomly selecting a word based on a word that is given, it could make, if it says, if it thinks the person is quite creative, it might have like a really squiggly font. But if it thinks the person's quite formal and this is going to be like a quote towards success in the workplace, then maybe it would be like a bold font. That would have been a really nice feature, because it would have added a bit more to the visual, other than just this standard font. But yeah, that's how my system works and operates. For example, if you want to see like one of the word values for one of the questions, here's one of the drop downs, and the question is, what makes you happiest? And the options are like reading a book, eating nice food, shopping, exercising, being intimate. You can see the actual values for them are read, dine, shop, exercise, and love. And then values are the ones that are passed to the thesaurus. In the code and also in my report, I mentioned various functions that I've made, like one where I add ing onto the end of the words. I've justified that in the report, and that's because sometimes the thesaurus doesn't return words in the correct tense that would make sense for the piece of advice. So it'd be like, it would say, worry about play more, or you should care more about play. And you'd think, well, no, it'd make more sense if it said you should care more about playing more, or something like that. So it would require for ing to be added onto the end of words, and I've created a function for that. I've created functions to capitalize the first letter of a word, all these things that you can see in the code. But yeah, that is the output of my product. I hope you enjoy it and have fun doing your own. Thanks for watching.